Welcome YouTube visitors and brothers and sisters in Christ. Doing another video tonight, and we're going to touch upon some financial matters. You remember a while back on several of my videos I talked about 2018 being a very significant year, or at least what I thought would be a very significant year. The reason being is that it represents 70 years after the nation of Israel, after the modern nation of Israel came into existence, which was 1948. If you do a study on biblical numerology, you'll see that the number 70 is a significant number. And I did a video on that. You can go back to my channels, look at some of the videos, and you'll find the significance of the number 70. Anyway, tonight I wanted to read an article by a man who's making a bold prediction of a drop in the dollar and significant increases in precious metals like gold and silver. So, I don't know. This year we could see a stock market collapse. We've been talking about that for a long time. It's in a bubble. Might not happen this year. Might happen in 2019. I don't know. But most likely 2018, and then significant drop in the dollar. We probably already put in a bottom in gold back in December of last month. Around, what, 12.25, 12.38, right around there somewhere. And we've rallied about $100 off that bottom. Once we clear about, I don't know, is it 1340, 1380, somewhere around there. Once we clear that resistance, the next level of major resistance, there is no resistance until I think around 1920, which was the old highs, $1,922, which was set in 2011. And of course that's going to pull silver up also. Silver should do much better. Now let me read some of the comments that this man makes. And it's, he says, governments and central banks are about to totally lose control, ushering in $10,000 gold and $667 silver in global panic. Well, I've heard $10,000 gold before. Most of the predictions in silver have been anywhere from $120 up to $1,000, maybe $5,000. Well, very wide spread there. But I would say that silver's this year, if we hit $1,500 or $1,600 gold, using a 60-to-1 ratio or 65-to-1 ratio, that would put us at $23 silver. We could see $26 silver, maybe $32 silver. I don't know where silver is going to end up this year. Some are saying we could hit the old highs of $48, $50 sometime this year. It's possible. And certainly I would hope that silver would hit, you know, $120 to $160 an ounce by 2020, which is 2 years from now. So if you don't have some gold and silver, you should be buying it right now, because that's real money. That's what's been used for thousands and thousands of years by the Greeks, the Hebrews, Egyptians, and it's you know, it takes effort to get gold and silver out of the ground. You can't just print it up like you can paper, fiat money. All right. Egon vi Greyertz, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, G-R-E-Y-E-R-Z. Let me see what he says here. He says, I've discussed the inevitable trends that the world would encounter in 2018. A final hurrah for stocks, a falling dollar, rising interest rates, and higher gold and silver prices, as well as higher commodity prices. Well, 1 week later, it is all happening. But this is just the beginning. We are now entering a period when governments and central banks will totally lose control of markets as their manipulation fails. I have long maintained that the laws of nature will prevail and that manipulation the manipulation we have seen in markets in the last couple of decades would fail. In the last week, I had an experience that confirmed the power of the law of nature. This is a power that is so strong that once it is triggered, no government or central bank can stop it, regardless of how much fake news, trillions of dollars of money printing, or market manipulation they throw at the problem. The avalanche destroyed everything in its path. Last weekend, I was at the Swiss Alps village in Zermatt at the base of the famous Matterhorn. For several days, we had a relentless snowfall, not seen it for decades. The snow blocked the access to the village both by train and road for many days. The force of this avalanche was of such a magnitude that destroyed everything in its path. This is exactly what we will experience in the world economy and financial markets in coming years. Most avalanches occur simultaneously due to the increased load of snow. Eventually, that last snowflake and the weight of the snow triggers the avalanche. Money printing, fake news, and government manipulation has temporarily managed to set aside the laws of nature, but eventually Mother Nature will have her way. And the truth is that a manipulative elite has managed to totally destroy the natural forces of the ebb and flow of markets. There are natural cycles in nature that move gently between peaks and troughs. These cycles are self-correcting without any human interferences or manipulation. But there are times in history when mankind want to play God and endeavors to set aside the laws of nature. This is what the world has experienced in the last 100 years, with an elite interfering with the natural forces of supply and demand by manipulating the economy and financial markets. You'll remember also I've talked about the fact that I believe Satan has been let loose. And all of this financial chaos, everything since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913, is all part of the satanic takeover of the world. An attempt at a one world government. What George Bush Sr. and others have called the New World Order. And they create these depressions, inflations, recessions by manipulating the money supply, raising and lowering interest rates. It's all based on a Keynesian economic system. We don't really have a free market system of capitalism because that would be too unpredictable to the globalists. They want total control, you see. They're communists at heart. Socialists, certainly. They want to be able to predict everything, and this is how they make their money. By having inside knowledge and knowing where interest rates are going and positioning themselves in certain stocks and commodities and so on. It's very corrupt. Now, I believe in free enterprise, competition, and I believe that is in the best interest of the consumer. But everything you're being told in the textbooks and in college and universities, high schools, they're saying that capitalism and free enterprise doesn't work. That's why we need government intervention. That's why the government stepped in during the Great Depression. Well, actually, it was from my understanding, it was the central banks. It was the Federal Reserve that caused the Great Depression, not free enterprise, not capitalism. FDR simply used the situation to increase the power of the government and created the Social Security system, which is a Ponzi scheme, and a lot of people may never even live to experience the benefits of the money that they paid into the system. Continuing. So, the elite have skillfully done this for a century without taking responsibility for the consequences. In the next few years, the world will experience the repercussions of the disastrous mismanagement of the world economy that governments and the elite have artificially constructed. Then they have a quote by Frank Zappa, the rock musician, who says, quote, "The illusion of freedom will continue as long as it's profitable to continue the illusion. At the point where the illusion becomes too expensive to maintain, They will just take down the scenery. They will pull back the curtains. They will move the tables and chairs out of the way, and you will see the brick wall at the back of the theater." Unquote. Belief in the lies is coming to an end. We are now reaching the point where when propaganda, outright lies, money printing, artificial interest rates, or any other form of manipulation will cease to have any effect. The sheer force of the avalanche will kill all fake maneuvers and attempted manipulations. And as the avalanche crushes everything in its path, it will pulverize the financial system, stock markets, bond markets, as well as all markets that have been inflated or manipulated by a crooked elite. This means that banks will either go bust or that the money will be worthless due to unlimited money printing. Stocks will go down by 90% or more in real terms. Bonds will be worthless. Social Security will not exist. Pensions will be wiped out and property values will decline by 75 to 95% in real terms versus gold. Yeah. You see? People are trusting in their pensions, which is a big mistake. Some people won't get a job unless it offers a pension or retirement, like people that work for the government, whether it's public school teachers or the city or whatever. No, I prefer being an entrepreneur and creating my own opportunities. It might not have a pension, but you can make a lot more money and you invest that money. And that is your future retirement. Cannot depend on a pension. After all, there were no pensions hundreds or thousands of years ago, were there? Continue the article. This is the magnitude of the avalanche that the world is likely to experience in coming years. Could I be wrong? Well, I hope I will be, but sadly, I fear I will be right. The only question is, can governments and central banks delay it for another few years, or if the force of the avalanche is too strong this time? Global panic is coming. One thing is certain, global debt at $240 trillion plus unfunded liabilities of $250 trillion and derivatives of 1.5 quadrillion, which is risk totaling 2 quadrillion, can never be repaid. However, it happens, and however long it takes, the debt must be eliminated. And once it is, all of the assets linked to this debt will also implode. But before the implosion, we are likely to have hyperinflation, as desperate governments hopelessly attempt to inflate the debt away. The world can never start a new growth phase without first eliminating the debt. That will inevitably lead to poverty, famine, social unrest, war, and misery. But unfortunately, that is the consequence of the disastrous mismanagement of the world economy in the last 100 years. And here's the things you can do to get prepared. He says, get prepared. So what can we do? What can we all do in the meantime? Here are a few tips. Get out of the stock market in the coming final rally. Get out of the bond market, because when bonds drop, interest rates will go up. Get out of debt. A lot of you, I've been hounding on this, harping on this point many times. Stay out of debt. Stop using your credit cards. Pay with cash or use a debit card, because if you use a debit card, you can only use the money that's in your bank account. Don't keep a lot of money in the bank. Keep 3, maybe 6 months worth of expenses at the most. Put some money in some gold and silver. Stay out of debt. Get out of investment property. I don't know why he says that, but I would think investment property like real estate, income property would be good. Don't depend on a pension system which is likely to fail. Don't expect the government to look after you. If you lose your job, plan on how you can survive. There are lots of services that are in demand in a depression. I've been talking about starting a part-time business many times, okay? If you have savings, don't keep them in the banking system. Hold gold and silver outside of the banking system. Okay, so I'll take back what I said. Don't keep a lot of your savings in the banking system. It's okay to have some in there. Family and friends are extremely important in difficult times. Create a circle of mutual dependence and trust. All of this might sound depressing. As I said, let's hope it won't happen. but be prepared. The world has survived unlimited crises throughout history, and whatever happens in the coming year is not going to be the end of the world. But be prepared for the coming avalanche and try to navigate carefully in order to avoid the worst risk of Scylla and Charybdis. I can't pronounce that. It's a Charybdis. I should know that. I've seen it in print many times. Just don't know how to pronounce it. Remember that bad times have many benefits also. The golden calf or material things become less important. Instead, relationships, friendships, and helping others become a priority. This will alleviate the hardship that most of us will suffer. All right. So anyway, the dollar index, according to this, is in free fall. We're now at 90.9. The next target is 70. 70. And you can bet gold and silver will be much higher by then. And there's talk of he's still writing this article. I thought he was over. Gold has already surged $100 in 30 days. I mentioned that. Gold was $12.37 on December 12th and is now $13.37. On the quarterly chart, gold has broken all resistance, and the next target is new highs above 1920. That's likely to happen in 2018. So this is what this man says. Thereafter, gold will reach my old standing forecast of at least $10,000. Jim Rickards has said the same. I'm sure Doug Casey has said the same, as well as others. At least $10,000 in today's money, and multiples of that price in hyperinflationary money. Once silver starts to really surge, it will move more than twice as fast as gold. And that's a fact. It usually does that. That will cause the gold-silver ratio to plunge from 77 to 1 down to 30 to 1, where it was in 2011. Eventually, the ratio should touch its historic average of 15 to 1, which would mean that if gold reaches $10,000, we will see a silver price of $667. These targets look sensational today, but are definitely not unrealistic. Once the avalanche starts, it will be unstoppable. On its way, as I said earlier, it will destroy all resistance, including manipulation and the fake, artificial money markets in precious metals. We will then see the true price of free gold and silver. But investors must remember that gold and silver are primarily held for insurance against a collapsing financial system for wealth preservation purposes. As all bubble assets implode, gold and silver will be the best protection and the surest way to survive the biggest wealth destruction in history, unquote. All right, you can find this article on King World News. I'll go ahead and put the link at the bottom of the video. Hope you enjoyed this. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video and this article. All credit to Egon von Greyertz. And yeah, get your financial house in order. The Bible says, owe no man anything but love. Stay out of debt. You know, you are a servant or a slave to your creditor when you owe somebody money. So get out of debt. Get a part-time job. Save your money. Live beneath your means, below your means. All right? Be wise. Be a good and faithful servant. All right. Until we meet again, may the Lord richly bless you.